fifth generation twin engine fighter, which they are still developing. And that one over there is ATA T129, which is their light combat aircraft. Okay, so during my apprenticeship program, I was given exclusive access to visit UniKL MIT, which is Malaysian Institute of Aviation Technology at Subang. So during my visit over there, we got to visit a few hangars over there in UniKL, which is the hangars over there. They use it for MRO, which is maintenance, repair, and overhaul. And overhaul, like maintenance, repair, I think you'll get it. But overhaul is actually like, even though like the helicopter is being flown for many hours and it doesn't have any malfunction, but you will have to send it to an MRO company to do a thorough checkup after flying a certain amount of hours, so that to make sure that the next flight would be safe. So this is me in a helicopter, which is a training helicopter, is BO105 helicopter. And as you can see inside the control system, this is an old helicopter because those control systems are all analog. And now control systems for helicopters and aeroplanes, they are all full class cockpit, which is fully digitalized. And this is the picture of the helicopter over there. So during my visit at the hangars, I didn't manage to take many photos because they are confidential, because it's a private company. But I will briefly tell you what I saw over there while giving the exclusive access. Is that there was like many VIP helicopters made by Airbus over there also, and also there are quite a few bomber helicopters, from small to very big firefighting helicopters over there, and also like other helicopters, and even the world's largest helicopter is actually over there also being serviced. So as you can see the picture at the far left, this is to show you the analog cockpit, the analog control system of the cockpit, and as you can see there are many meters over there, and that one at the center is if I'm not mistaken, is called the cyclic, which is used to control the angle of attack of the rotary engine blade over there. And you can see like over there, the second picture, you can see like the helicopter blades are connected of the rotary engine. So the rotary engine would spin the blades, and we could actually like control the lift from the rotary blades over there by adjusting the cyclic. And also there's actually like a handlebar beside the seat of a pilot, both sides. So that one is the center. This one is used to control the lift of the helicopter, which is the main rotor, and the controller at the side of the pilot's seat will be used to control the spin of the helicopter, where we will control the tail rotor, where we also control the angle of attack of the tail rotor over there at the last picture. So as you can see, that the background over there this is their second hangar in UniKL Mia. And so this one I want to show you is the comparison between an analog versus a glass cockpit of a Bell 407 helicopter. So as you can see over here, they are all meters, so they are analog, and that one is fully digitalized. So normally engineers who innovate this kind of products is under the software and also electrical, where it falls under the avionics department of the aerospace industry. So normally mechanical engineers, from what I've learned during my apprenticeship program, is that mechanical engineers would perform like those structural analysis, design of the engine, and also like even avionics mechanical engineers are involved, because we will design the cooling system for the avionics components. And also this helicopter was parked in one of the hangars also at that time. Okay, so during my visit, we were also given exclusive access to one of their engine workshops. And the one on my left is the turbojet engine, and the one on the right is actually a turbofan engine. So the difference between a turbojet and turbofan engine is the way how they produce thrust and also their exhaust. For example, for turbojet engine, the thrust is straight away directly ejected at the end of the engine, while for turbofan engine, like the part of the air being sucked in is actually like at the side over there it comes out. And there are actually many more engines, but this is the two engines that we managed to visit and learn about it. So during my visit, they have also shown us about those landing gear system, how it works. And actually, like, did you know why those hydraulic fluid is actually red color? Like mainly especially for landing gear systems. It's because it can be transparent. It can be a transparent fluid, but they purposely put it red color because when they perform like aircraft checks before flying, they would know if they see red liquid on the ground, they would know there's actually like leakage over there. So they would ground the plane and not fly because it's dangerous. And also like, does anyone know like how does an aircraft regulates its temperature in the cabin? So actually, right, this one I just learned about it during my apprenticeship program. It's also like the aircraft, because like the turbine generates a lot of heat, right? The engine generates a lot of heat, right? So the aircraft would actually like take the heat from the engine, take some heat from the engine and actually mix it with the air in the cabin. So the cabin air would be regulated as the higher we go, the temperature would decrease and it's very cold outside the aeroplane. So that's how they actually regulate the temperature in the cabin. So this is me visiting their flight simulator. It is a Boeing 737-800 flight simulator at UniKL also. So over here, they taught us about some of the avionics systems, and actually, right, the pilot chair, right, you see, it's quite hard to get into the seat. It's actually like you have to pull a pin under the seat, and it's like a pin lock thing. So you pull it up, then you push the seat backwards. Then you can comfortably enter the seat. So does anyone know or would like to guess which airport and runway is this? Very close. It's actually KLIA-1 terminal, and the far end is KLIA-1, and this is KLIA-1 runway. So their flight simulator is actually static ones compared to those more expensive motion flight simulators. And during like, so that's to show that now like those aircrafts, they use full glass cockpit aircrafts and full glass cockpit systems, and compared to last time those analog. But certain planes, they still use analog systems in their cockpit. Like for example, like old bomber aircrafts, they are still operating now. And the next one I would like to show you is the flight recorder, which is also known as the black box. So a black box, like they would install it at the back of the tail of the airplane, which is at the back of the fuselage. So a fuselage is actually the hollow area of the aeroplane, where it includes the cockpit and to the end of the plane to the tail over there. So they would install it at the tail because it is more safer to install it there, because like in the event of a crash, the front part would act as a crumble zone and absorb the impact. So there will be a high possibility that the flight recorder wouldn't be damaged, so that we could retrieve information after the crash. So the back part, which you can see, if you notice a silver cylinder over there, is actually a beacon. A beacon, so that because when you crash, those things would actually like shatter into many pieces and into the ocean normally. So the beacon will send out a signal, and it has it actually powers on battery. So if within that time span nobody finds the black box, then it would be harder to find. And that one over there is a radar that is installed at the nose of a plane. And more to share about the black box is that last time, planes, before black box was invented, people would use recording tapes to record the voice in the cabin and also the cockpit. So that is actually quite expensive, because after every flight you would have to replace the recording tape every time. So it would be very troublesome. And now the new black box, they have a storage time. So like after that flight, if that flight is okay, after some time that data will be deleted after some time. And during my apprenticeship program, also I would like to share about basics of the FEA, which is finite element analysis, which is also an important part in aerospace industry, because we would perform FEA on aircraft structures. For example, even every structure that you would like to add to an aircraft, you will have to analyze it before actually installing it. For example, Tussauds actually, they designed a camera that was fitted on a fighter jet to film a military movie. So we would think they would put the camera, just install it over there, but actually they have to perform FEA and design the structure to fit the camera over there to make sure that it wouldn't damage the fighter jet also. So it's actually very important for us to perform FEA, because we would know until certain level or certain stress the aircraft part could handle without failing and causing danger. So this is one of the cases of a turboprop plate failure in an aircraft. So this is because due to fatigue stress, the turboprop plate actually broke and struck the cabin, which is very dangerous. And so engineers, as a solution, they design a containment ring to contain if there's in the event of failure of the plates, it will be contained in the containment ring, so it wouldn't strike the cabin. So normally turboprop planes, they have a high possibility of having the plate breaking, but not every time. So there's a plane called amphibious plane, which is the turboprop is actually installed at the top part of the cockpit. So it's actually, they have analyzed that it is actually quite risky for that plane to operate. So they actually redesigned that plane to redesign the turboprop to make it more safer. So the question is, fun fact, which is the safest seat in an aeroplane?
At the back.
Yes. And also the center of an aeroplane, which is the wing box section. So, and also at the tail of the aeroplane. So why is the wing box also considered a safe place in an aeroplane? Is because the wing box structure is the strongest structure in an aeroplane, where it is constructed by many spars and ribs. So spars is actually the horizontal ones that you see, and the ribs are the vertical structures over there. So spars and ribs are also used to make the wing of an aircraft. So the wing box section is the section where we connect both of the aircraft wings, so it should be very strong over there. So it's considered one of the safest places in an aircraft also. And anyone knows any made in Malaysia place? Okay, so the first one would be a converted aircraft which is called CTRM Eagle UAV, which is CTRM stands for Composite Technology Research Malaysia. It's actually a company where they also manufacture aircrafts also. And this aircraft is actually converted from an Eagle aircraft 150, which is actually an Australian aircraft, more to a training aircraft also, and a two-seater aircraft. And it's converted to CTRM Eagle UAV, and it's currently being used in military also. So for this one, Malaysia actually bought the manufacturing rights for Eagle aircraft 150B to manufacture it as a UAV. And under the same company, they also bought a blueprint over, which is Auditorium UAV, also for military usage only, and manufactured by the same company, CTRM also, which is now, I think, this UAV is under DevTech, another company, if I'm not mistaken. So that's all from me. Teşekkür ederim, which is thank you in Turkish. Thank you. Oh, I forgot to share one thing which I've been holding from my talk, which is this thing is actually removed before flight. Normally you will see like they are inserted at pins of the sensors of the aircraft. For example, we install it at pitot tubes of the aircraft and other important sensors. So to keep it short, this is to actually protect the sensors from bugs, dust and moisture, and birds from nesting. So this is called a blank, aircraft blank. So they install it when the aircraft is grounded. So before takeoff, they actually have to remove it. There's actually one case that I know of, is the one helicopter, the pilot actually forgot to remove the blank at the pitot tube before taking off. So after taking off, the helicopter straight away crashed. And because the pilot and the helicopter wasn't able to get accurate altitude readings, so they didn't know the altitude of the helicopter, so they crashed. So it's actually very important to remove all the blanks of an aircraft before taking off.
Hello. Yeah. Thanks. Firstly, right, I did not. Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming, though. Yeah, I didn't realize how the crowd is building at the back. Thank you so much for coming. You can also ajak your friends to come. Yeah, we still have quite a bit of an agenda. And yeah, first and foremost, I did not invite myself for this talk, although it looks like it. Although I am the organizing committee, I would actually like to thank Dr. Goh for this opportunity to invite me to share about something very, I would say, very niche among undergraduate students, something that is not really looked upon or really cared about by undergraduates until their FYP. So yeah, and also this wouldn't be as technical as Pei Wei's talk. I'm sorry if you guys wanted to see technical stuff. I did not have time to put that because I put these slides together in a day and I just practiced them like this morning. So I'm sorry for that. But I hope that with the information I'm about to share, you guys will get a glimpse into what research is like, but not completely, but at least from an undergraduate's perspective. Alright? So oh yeah, and also I structured this according to the 5W and 1H because I couldn't think of how to better speed run my slides. And I think this by answering all of these, I think it will give you a sufficient picture of what's going on, right? Because science is about asking questions, right? So this is what I did. And of course, we will start off with, why is this not working? guess I'll need Daniel's help for this. We'll start off with who. And yeah, this is a brand new picture of me in a conference. I just didn't know what else to put, but I think this fits the theme very well. And I would like to talk about me, not my background per se, but I would actually like to talk about some traits about myself that actually made me want to venture into research. So, firstly, I prefer depth over breadth when it comes to knowledge and also information. I believe that for me, I like to know things on a deeper level. I like to know the inner workings of things. I don't like to know many things on the surface. I just like to know a couple of things and truly understand them. Because in my philosophy, I think by truly understanding something, only we actually appreciate what's going on. So if you know something about everything, you just know. But when you actually take your time to understand it, you really internalize it within yourself, and you understand, is this what you truly like? Is this what you really want to do? And that's one of my philosophies. Next. I'm also an overthinker. It's also a double-edged sword, I would say. It used to haunt me a lot in my high school days because I tend to think a lot, overanalyze a lot. I tend to think about the bad things that are going to happen, the bad things that won't happen, and yeah, I've learned how to cope with it. It's not perfect yet. I'm still very much an overthinker, but I think I've learned how to turn this into a strength. Where since I overanalyze, why not I put this analyzing ability on something that requires thinking further, something that requires you to actually look at something beyond the surface. So that's why I think research may be for me. And lastly, I absolutely love to teach and share. Although I look very awkward, and I think I still am very awkward. Hi. Yeah. Yeah, please ajak your friends to come. Yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, I absolutely love to teach and share. Although I must admit there are many things that I do not know. There are many things that need to be learned. But I feel that I'm also actually a self-proclaimed listener. Okay, I love to listen to stories. I love to hear about what people have to share. But at the same time, I also love to share about myself. I like to share what I know. And I feel that the most fulfilling thing that I ever do is when I explain something to people, or I just help people unlock something that they have stuck in their head, or just overall share something beneficial to someone. If they find it beneficial, I find it very fulfilling. So that also echoes with my I don't know if you're going to call this an ambition or what, but I actually want to be a teacher or lecturer. And I thought, if I'm an overthinking teacher, why not I be a lecturer? Because I can do research and put my overthinking to some good use. Alright, so that's a bit about myself. Next slide, please. Is it working?
I hope it is.
I hope it works too. Okay, it works. Thank you. It's not really working. Can you go back?
Because you're
to here.
far away.
Yeah.
Be closer.
Alright, anyways, a bit on the what and when. We've done with the who, right? So now, what did I actually do was that in the semester break of my year 1, I decided to ask my then-to-be supervisor, Dr. Goh, for a research project that I could take up in my undergraduate years. And I was very lucky because there was a project at hand, and I happily taken it up along with 2 other of my teammates, Timothy and Christine. And with that, it started. And what exactly I've done in this particular role, I'll explain it further later. But essentially, I got to experience the whole flow of research, not completely, but in a very comprehensive manner, from the reading to experimental procedures and even to reporting, which I'm very grateful for. Because I did not expect to be given a chance to experience this in my undergraduate studies, let alone my first year of studies, right? And the project title that I was given is that I said I won't be going too technical, so this is probably the only technical thing I have here, which is the project title. Essentially, what we were working on was to improve the strength of solder joints, how components are held together on a circuit board by doping the flux. Just just like this. Okay, basically that's what you need to know for now. I wouldn't explain too long on that because I don't want to get too technical. But just know that this research title is important because it gives you a direction on what you're about to do. What are the things that you need to consider when you're carrying out your experiments, your tests, and also your analysis. And this is a gallery, a little bit of stuff that I think are very memorable to me. We'll go with the top right first. That's actually a field emission scanning electron microscope. Yeah, it's a microscope. I think you guys have seen, I've heard of it before, may or may not have seen it. It's the size of an oven and it uses an electron beam to look at objects, specimens. And the first time I saw it, I actually was I was very impressed because I did not expect to see a microscope this big, let alone be able to see it being used, right? So that's a very memorable experience for me. The bottom right is actually me for the first time trying to apply solder manually. Apply flux manually to a solder. I did a terrible job, but I think this is it's a very memorable picture for me because this was like my second or third day on the job and I almost messed up everything. Yeah, but I guess this is what it's all about, right? We messed up a lot. And the most memorable one, of course, would be this. This is actually the cover page of our conference proceedings. It credits everyone involved in the project. And we were also given the opportunity to work with a university in Austria to get our project done with. And although for some seasoned researchers, conference proceedings are a very common thing, they may produce multiple of them like few years. But to me, just having one of this, I feel very grateful for it because yeah, I feel like although this conference paper was terrible, I wrote it, most of it, it was terrible, but I still feel that my efforts have paid off some way or another and there is more to come. So it's an indicator of my progress, although it's like very small. So I really love this and I hope that this motivates me to go further. Okay, now we go with the where. Nothing much that I have to share because I don't have a lot of pictures. But I spend most of my time and of course with my colleagues here. It's a very, I would say a very normal looking lab at Block M, ground floor, has glass doors. Normally it's covered with like vapor, so like you can't really see anything inside. But it's very cold. And basically, this is where we prepare our sample. So this is where we get our hands dirty. The lab beside it, I didn't get to take a picture. It's actually where the very big microscope is located at. That's where we analyze, where we look at our samples. I actually got to visit the high impact research building as well. I only went once and we never went again because we didn't really know how to use the equipment there. So yeah, we don't want to burn research money. So that's that. But I'll get into experimental procedures later. But anyways, I wouldn't get too technical. The last lab is actually a cutting lab where we get to look at CNC machines. We don't get to use anything. But what I was trying to say here is that by actually involving myself in this project, I actually got to expose myself to a lot of things that most undergraduates, at least in their early stages, don't actually get to experience, and I'm very grateful for that. Okay, now comes to the important part, which is how. This is probably going to get a little bit boring, but I will try to slot in as much of my personal experience so that it won't get too boring, right? So I'm going to talk about the flow of a project up to the ending of the project, and what do we actually do when we carry out research. So the very first thing after you receive your title will be actually to conduct literature reviews. If I'm pretty sure the third and fourth years here will be familiar with that. For the first and second years, if you're familiar with that, great. If you're not, literature reviews is basically a fancy name for reading a lot. So you need to read a lot and organize what you read into very neat ideas and see how the ideas flow from one place to another. This is important because research is about knowing what has been done, finding a research gap and trying to bridge that gap. So if you don't read, you don't really know what's going on. and you don't really understand like what's the current situation or what's the current trend in the particular field that you are putting yourself into. Next would be experiments. After you have organized your ideas, you have understood what needs to be done, you can then start planning your experiments. When I was a research assistant, I was a noob, right? So I was given, of course, the guidance by a master student, her name was Lina, and to guide us step by step on what to do for experiments. But hopefully in the near future, as I hone my experimental skills, I hope to be more and more independent and be able to plan and carry out experiments on my own. But it's a very long journey, but that's one of my goals, I would say. Yes, after experiments, of course, there will be data analysis. It does not get this simple, but I'm just going to explain the general flow. After obtaining data, of course, you have to analyze them. And of course, after analyzing, knowing, finding out the trends, we will then be reporting them for further communication. But as you can see, it doesn't get this straightforward because at the experimental and analysis stages, usually there are many iterations that have to be done because you don't really know what's going to happen next. You don't really know what lies behind the results that you have. There may be some amendments that needs to be done, and all of this comes from repeated iterations of your particular experiment. So you get results, preliminary results, you see what's wrong. If it's your problem, do it again. If it's not your problem, you might need to do it again as well, depending on how much money you have. How much money the grant has for you. But anyways, the point here is, I want to stress that research isn't just a one-way thing. It is something that involves a lot of repetition and something that requires you to be very persistent and you just have to learn what you do, okay? And that's not where it stops. Everything goes back to literature reviews. Because if you don't really understand what you're doing, you have to go back to look at past work. There may be a lot of things that you have missed out or a missing piece of the puzzle that you did not realize. And that's where reading comes in. So the whole point of this slide is to stress that reading is very important. And that's also something that I'm still currently trying to practice on. Yeah. Next. So the last slide, of course, would be why. Okay, why go through all of this? Why not I just go for like an internship and touch machines like a mechanical engineer, right? There are many reasons to that. Number one being, I personally do not like mechanical things. I'm more into material science, but I took mechanical engineering because UM decided to absorb it into mechanical engineering. So material science is supposed to be a course. It's not anymore in UM. But anyways, I'm here and I'm doing fine, I think. But the point is, number one, I joined for material science, and I believe in the potential for research in material science. Previously, I mentioned some of my traits, my personality traits, which I think could help me in the field of research. That's also another reason why I joined. And also, I just wanted, if possible, to join a career in academia because I feel that that's something where I think my heart can belong. The journey is still very long. I don't know if it's going to work out, but I hope that after some hiccups and so on, I will still be able to persist in this field. Yeah, and there are a lot of other whys, I guess, but overall, these are one of the few reasons that why I'm so persistent about research. I think the boredom is overwritten in this field. So it is boring, absolutely, it's very boring. But because I love it so much, I think the boredom doesn't really hinder me from this path. Yeah. Next. Okay, so before we end off, this is actually just a thank you slide. But before we end, I'd just like to say, after this talk, I don't really expect to give that big of a picture to you regarding research. There is so much to know, but I just hope that with this, you're able to at least spark a bit of your interest in this very, very niche field in undergraduate studies. If you think you have the interest, you can find out more of what are the fields that you like, and maybe you would like it as well, and maybe you will absolutely like that. But I just hope that you can just get a bit of idea from this, and also ask anything you want during the forum later, because supposedly my slides are supposed to give you more questions than answers lah, I guess. I guess that's all from me. I'll pass it to Nasir. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Alright, so let me introduce myself. My name is Nasir Afar bin Nasir. I'm a third year student right now, and today I'm going to talk about my internship at Germany. So this is a very interesting topic. Not many people really have the opportunity of going to internship overseas, let alone during their second year. And this was my own initiative to find an internship during my second year. Like the other speakers, they went on their activities during their break for their own knowledge, for their own experience. So I really applaud that to me, where I want to maximize my time with the things that I love. So what I really love is about engineering and renewable energy in particular. So as you can see here, this is a wind turbine nacelle. Okay, if you guys imagine a wind turbine on the top where the blades connect to the body, so this is where the blade connects to the body. So this is the bearing and this is the frame. So my company is a manufacturing company. All right. Next. So the company name is Energy, and this is during my site visit. Is a mechanical engineer and has been specializing in the wind turbine industry for 20 years. Right now he's retired. So my father wanted an opportunity for me to find a renewable energy company in Germany, so he contacted him. So Mr. Frank knew the owner of this company's the owner of this company. His name is, I don't remember his name. The owner. So the owner is the grey guy beside my father. So on the right side is Mr. Fabian. He is the CTO, and the one wearing the pink jacket, he's the sales director. So those two were my supervisor during my internship. All right, next. Okay, so this was a bit of a chronology of how I managed and how I survived the preparation to my internship. So this was August 2023. I got my first email from my company at 17, and I had to leave to Germany on the 31st. So I literally had just less than 1 week to prepare. So during this 1 week, I had to settle visa and I had to settle accommodation. During that time, I was also interning at another company, but in just Shah Alam. So I was doing all that while I was working. And then I had my flight to Hamburg, and then from Hamburg I went to Rostock. Okay, so the thing with German companies is that they are really particular. They want to know your accommodation. They need you to sign these documents. Need you to sign the visas and everything. Next. So after that, I managed. So here's my rotation, my department during my internship. So the first rotation was I went to the simulation and load calculator. So over there we did some data analysis, like our speaker before this, he said about data analysis, but we use simulations using software. So the simulations from the software is calculating the load of the bearings of the wind turbine. Because you imagine wind turbines, the force comes from in front, and how much force is there needed for the bearings to withhold during storms, during maximum load. So those kind of things that we want to know. Then I had an hands-on experience working with the production team. The production team is where all of the assembly works, because my company is a manufacturing company and it assembles all of the parts for the wind turbine. For example, inside the wind turbine, there's a gearbox, there's a generator, there's all of the electrical components, there's the frame, there's the fiberglass skin. So all of those are assembled at my company. Okay, next. Okay, at the last, interestingly, the Palestine-Israel war started when I was at Germany, so I was really afraid. There was a lot of Jews and they were really pro-Israel, so I just had to survive. And then, on the last stretch of my internship, I worked with the electrical engineering department, where I had to develop my own controller, PI controller, for the DC converter. Okay, so this is one of the textbooks that we need to study. Like our speaker said, some literature reviews. So this is what I reviewed: the Windkraftlagen, Grundlagen Info, which means wind technology and how it works. Okay, next. So if you work with a manufacturing company, the most exciting thing that you found that you will learn about is the scale of the things. You know, like if you go to a manufacturing car company, you get to see the scale of the skeleton of the cars and everything. For my wind turbine, I get to see the bearing of the wind turbine. So this is where the wind blades attach to the frame. So this is the bearing. So my job was to attach all of those bolts and nuts. So that was my job lah. So this is just a cool photo with the sunlight. Okay, next. So this is the gearbox for the wind turbine. So imagine the wind blades are spinning, and it spins a shaft, but the shaft needs to be reduced. So the speed of the wind blade is very fast, so we need to slow down for the generator. So that's where the gearbox comes in, because you have a reducer. So at the back here is the gearbox, and at the front is the main shaft. So there's some bearings holding onto the shaft, and what my colleague is doing there is calibrating the torsion, because he needs to make sure that the bolts are torqued to spec. Okay, next. So interesting thing about working with a German company, especially the company who is I'm the minority of a Muslim worker. So they really like beer, they really like sausages, they really like pork, you know. So those are not halal for me, but they really accommodate me. They ask me like, okay, we're doing a barbecue this weekend to celebrate like this month. So what do you want to have? So I said, I will some Kartoffel. Kartoffel is potatoes in German. So they prepared a small metal tray for me to accommodate my potatoes. So that was really considerate of them. Okay, next. So this is just a scale of me. This wind turbine itself is prepared for a 6 megawatt wind turbine. So wind turbines are sized according to their power output, max power output. So the biggest one my company provides is 6 megawatts. Okay, next. This is the length of the wind turbine itself. If you can imagine, I was standing in front there, and there was the bearing module that was supposed to be attached to the front of the nacelle. Okay, next. Okay, so other than manufacturing at the production hall, I also went on some of the site visits where we went to the transformer. So when the wind turbines generate electricity, you want to ramp up the voltage. So this is one of the components for the transformers. And what we found out was there was water leaking. So the water leaking is from the water cooling system. So the engineers had to figure out how to solve it. Okay, over here is the substation. The substation is where you connect your wind turbines to the grid. Okay, because the problem with renewable energy is that it's not simply plugging solar and plugging your wind turbine to the grid. You need to have a certain level of voltage for you to sufficiently provide to the grid, or else it will make your wind turbine explode because the electricity goes back. So you need to make sure that the electricity goes into the grid, not the grid going into your components. So it will be damaged. So this is the transformer at the substation. Next. So on top on the left here, I did not take any much pictures because in German they also has a policy of no taking photos, and also all of my photos are confidential, so there is this exclusive look. So over here I went to a harbor where my company situated is at Rostock. So Rostock is just a few kilometers away from a harbor. So that's where the wind blades come from China. So most of the wind blades around the world are manufactured by a factory in China. So this is an inspection for our company to see the condition of the blades before it is assembled. Okay, and on the left hand side is some programming I had to do for my DC controller. Okay, next. Okay, so I would like to share my experience as a intern also over there and the culture over there. So they ate really healthy food. So every day they bring fruits and vegetables to the table and it finished quickly. So you'll be lucky if you see an apple on the table without anyone taking it. So here is my supervisor, Mr. Fabian, and also Mr. Ube. Oh, okay. So that's, I'm sorry, this slide ready? Before this, okay. So Mr. Fabian is the CTO, he was my supervisor. Mr. Ube was the head of electrical engineering department. So I was really close with them because they were also happy to see someone like me passionate about renewable energy, and I tried a lot speaking in Germany with them. Okay, alright, I guess that's it. Next. Alright, so in German we say Dankeschön. Thank you very much for listening to my sharing session. Okay, now I pass back to the MC.
The MC is at the toilet. The MC is at the toilet, but good news is now the lecturers are gone, so you can be as informal as you want. Okay, so you can wait for him, and maybe you guys can come to the front because it's going to be a bit more of a productive session later. Yeah, while we wait for the MC to be back.
Yes, moderator.
Oh, okay.
Give me 1 sec. Wake up please, this is a very fun moment and this is a forum. Claire and Nazir for your sample sharing session. So let's begin with some questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Now is your time to make us feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah. You gotta enjoy the moment, you know. Any questions? Deep questions about philosophies?
No, I have a question for both of them.
Oh, for sure. Let's go.
Okay. So apparently I was the only one paying attention. So my question for what was it? Payway. So my question for Payway was, how long was your internship for you to get that certificate, and when did you start? Like the exact month. You remember? Was it like 3 months? 1 month?
It was actually just 4 days compared to internships and base research, which has a longer duration than mine. Mine was just 4 days, and they actually cram it to 3 days. So the last day they actually cram a lot of theories to us, and it was quite it was quite heavy for the last day, because they actually like compressed design engineering and also structural analysis. For design engineering, they show us their Hercules jet, which is a jet that they are developing. It has been developed, but they are now upgrading the engine structures in the program.
I see. So did you need to pay anything?
No, it was free.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Okay, now my question for you. So, will you pay to become a research assistant?
Thank you for asking this, Dr. Ignata. So, just for your information, research assistance, for at least for my case, it was paid on a project base. It's not based on like the individual. So how much money the project receives, we will allocate some of the money for the researchers lah. And also for undergraduates, there is no minimum rate. So if you want to know the number, you can come and find me lah. But then for masters and PhD researchers, if you're interested to know, you can go to RA Recruitment, a website. Those are for master and PhD level research assistants, and for those the pays are much more transparent lah. Yeah, so you can take a look at those. For those. But as an undergrad, I have myself to blame. This wasn't supposed to work out. Like it is I would say it's some sort of it's my initiative, and they appreciate it, but the faculty or the research grants didn't have that much allocations to support it. So we just had to make do with what we had lah. But nevertheless, for me, I went for the experience, so I still feel grateful for. I think the experience outweighs the pay for me during that. Of course, if I were to be a researcher, I would need to get paid and I need to get to know the rates. But now, since that I'm just gaining experience, I think it's okay to sacrifice some of that. Yeah.
During your research, have you ever reached a plateau, like a stagnant point where you don't know where to proceed?
Okay, so for your information, just now you asked about durations, right? So our project went on for about 3 months, 2 to 3 months during the semester break, and it was very difficult to see where things actually get stagnant, because 3 months is very rushed for a research project. Research projects tend to take like years sometimes. So this was a very small project. Everything was actually quite organized already. It was more of an experience for us, right? So we went in, we got our roles, and we tried everything. We tried so many things, right? Whether it came stagnant or not, I couldn't really tell. But I would say that we managed to to get some of the results that we wanted. Whether they were very impactful or not, that probably isn't within my scope yet, because I'm just an undergrad. But very happy to be able to share that research at a conference. It was actually a conference organized by as well. It's called ICOSAM. So hopefully in the near future, I get more involvement. And for those who want to get involved as well, you may approach the lecturers. Oh yeah, Dr. Go asked me to Dr. Go asked me to get from you guys any research topics or research fields, or any fields that you're interested in, but you don't know who to approach. You can ask me, I will relay them to Dr. Go, and she can actually let you all know. Because Dr. Go is actually very happy that there are undergraduates that like research, and there might be some among you guys, just that you guys don't know the opportunities available. So if you guys do have any interest sparked in that, please do let us know, and we'll try to make it happen for you guys. Yeah.
For me, you guys have any questions for me?
I think you guys are quite clear with what's happening right here, right? So are there any questions from the audience? Yeah. First.
You want the mic?
You need the mic?
But a bit far. Sorry, I also forgot to request the wireless mics for this venue because I was the one who booked the venue. So sorry for that.
It's alright, you're always loud enough.
Hi, my name is Christine. So my question,
It's my colleague.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask Nasser.
Okay.
So I want to ask the requirements for German internship because I know that applying internship at Germany is not that easy if you don't have a like father in that company who knows how to. No, I didn't meant to apply.
Yeah, no.
Just because I've been to Germany like during like since October until this March, and so
Oh really? What
yeah.
do you do there?
I just experienced like I just
Bercuti ke?
bercuti. I just went to their university there.
Okay.
But I wanted to apply for internship at Germany that time, but my skill is not that not that good, so I didn't apply for internship.
Yes. So, legally, I would say legally you need to have a very proficient language, like for your like requirements to do, and also you need to have like who you know inside the company. Well, for my case, I learned Germany the moment I stepped on the airport. So I did not learn any Germany before. I was on Duolingo the whole time. And then the second requirement is the most important, which is money. So you need a lot of money for you to survive there. For example, if you're not on a scholarship, you're not on anything, it cost me around 3,000 euros per month over there. So I wasn't paid, yeah. So I wasn't paid because if I were to be paid, I need to sign another document, another visa and everything. So my father just said, just keep that and then not just get paid. So simple lah. And also one more requirement is, since we are Malaysian citizens, you are a Malaysian citizen, right? So we need to have a specialized visa for internships. So there is a headache to go through that. So that's one of the three challenges lah: getting to the company, money, and the visa. Okay.
Yeah, I also experienced that, especially the bureaucracy of the. It takes for me. I apply visa for 3 months. Like just for exchange student, but for you internship, I believe if I really wanted to apply internship at Germany, it would take me like half a year to really get that.
It will take a long time.
It will take a long time because I saw your it's just 1 week. I can't believe it. You did the visa in just 1 week.
Yes,
so.
that's why I said legally.
Yeah.
There was some
and also like the accommodation is very expensive there. Yeah.
That's why I said legally or money. You know what I'm saying?
And what about the skills? Because you are just year 2, right? You didn't like really have hands-on before you go there. So what they look into is your personality or?
No, they just really look into your passion and enthusiasm. Because there was also a high school kid as my colleague. So he also does not have any skills and anything, but he's just there for a part-time. Like that. So it was interesting also lah. So you don't really have any skills, but at least you know some engineering fundamentals.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much to Christine. Who's gonna be the next? Okay, let's go.
You just have, you can shout.
Or you can just shout out, it's fine as well.
This is for you.
Hi, what do you hand it to him? How do you know? Yes, this question is for Ping Wei. How did you know about the apprenticeship program, and also how did you apply?
About the apprenticeship program, actually Dr. Nurin shared a poster into our group because their apprenticeship program was actually targeting year one, but actually most of the participants for the apprenticeship program were all diploma students, mostly from UniMechE, and mostly diploma, only a few first year students over there. And I just sent in my resume, and they replied to me like within 1 week, time, saying that they have accepted my application and I could attend their apprenticeship program.
Cool. Another question is, how many people were there, like doing the apprenticeship with you?
Around 20.
Right.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
There was one from USM and from a few other universities.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You see, guys, read the WhatsApp groups. Tell your friends to read the WhatsApp groups. Even internships also advertise there. This one also advertise there. Yeah. Thank you.
So talking about the advertisements, here's a town hall event posted in the group. Highly be happy to join. Okay, it's not as formal as this. It's just a discussion, and you can talk anything in it. Okay. Okay. So next, are there anyone gonna propose any questions yet? Yeah, Amir, let's go.
I'll just shout out loud.
Okay, sure.
Alright. So Nasser, how would you evaluate your internship experience? How was it different from your peers or classmates who did their who will be doing their internship here?
So, what I can, okay. So, what difference do I feel like is firstly is living independently, because some internships you go with a friend, you know. If you ask any of your seniors, if they have the internship here, there might be a couple of students going as well. So when I was there, I was all alone. Yeah. So living independently was one of my experience, and also trying to communicate lah. Because if you're in Malaysia and you already speak well Malay, you do not develop, you don't require any more real communication skills. But if you're there, you need to develop a very good communication skill with the colleagues, with the clients. I went for a conference also when I was at Germany, Huzumwin. So I got to talk to a lot of Europeans, because for the wind industry in Germany, it's not just Germany alone. There was a lot of French people, Swiss people, English people. So it was an experience of having an international exposure, because I had to meet a lot of international colleagues, and also get to experience products from abroad. For example, the nacelle, the frame was made in China, the bearing was made in Spain, the generator was made in India, the gearbox was made in another place. So all of those things like create uniqueness into the product. So I think that's a very good thing if you're going for this is my difference between me and my peers, I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Nasir. Any more questions? Yeah.
This question is for Pei. Since your apprenticeship is just 3 days, and I believe that aerospace engineering is a kind of tough course for year one students, because I take aerospace engineering back in Germany, and when I study that, I think it is very hard for me as well. So how do you cope with that? Like learning all these stuff in just 3 days?
I think for me, like, because during the apprenticeship program, they only covered like basics, and they didn't really go in depth into like how do we use FEA, or what software should we use. They only they told us about the software, and the importance of it, and they actually show us a few projects. So as this is just a level 1 apprenticeship, they would have like consecutive level 2, level 3, that is, after you have passed your level 1, then the next round you have to apply again and see if they would like to accept you. And level 2 would be in Turkey at their headquarters. Yes. So about the how did I manage to like learn like during that 3 days is that like after every day I would go back and make my notes based on what the speaker has, based on what the engineers have taught us, and like write a summary so that next time I could refer back to it and refresh my memories of what I have learned. That's how I remember my notes from the apprenticeship program.
Do you feel stressed when studying all these stuff in just 3 days?
No, it was actually quite interesting. Like because they actually show us their projects that they are working, which is confidential.
Yeah.
So they show us the examples, and like just now I shared one which is the turboprop incident, which is part of what they have shared, and they have actually like shared with us the data and also like certain terms from the simulations. I actually find it quite interesting because as I'm interested in this field, so like I think I would relate to what Beth said, like how to say we
If
we
you
will
really
do like
it, then
yeah.
you won't care about the
Yeah.
volume and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Since everyone is asking Pei Wei and Nasir, I feel so sorry for Bear. I have one question for Bear. Does anyone have question for Bear or not? Oh, maybe.
Let me go for it. What about you?
Anyone?
Yeah, I want to ask.
You wanna ask? Oh, just shout it out. Just shout it out. Sorry.
So how was your experience for your conference that you went, I believe, in year 1? Right? How was that experience? And what do you do with the research money that you get?
What did I do with what?
With the research money that you get.
Wait, okay. I'll answer the first one first. Okay, so I went for the conference in my early weeks of second year actually, because that's when the conference was held. So I actually had to rush the report during my first few weeks of my year 2 Sem 1. I don't think that was exactly planned. I did not expect to do that, but I did it anyway. How was my experience at the conference? I think it's one of my most memorable ones because I did not expect to be able to share a stage with very, very experienced researchers, PhD students. Some were actually already postdocs. I was very terrified because I know that I would completely mess up that presentation. I hope I didn't. I don't know, but it was still a very good experience that I would never have regretted because after going through one conference, I knew how it was like. I knew what it would be like to face it in the future because researchers tend to go to a lot of conferences, and being shoved inside one with like no experience in a comfortable environment because all the lecturers there, I actually knew them. They sort of knew me as well, so they actually treated me very nice. They didn't ask me very harsh questions, and it was very enjoyable. Although it was very stressful seeing all the postdocs present their papers, and I know my paper was, the paper I wrote was probably not that great, but yeah, that's very nice. And the research money was also like banked in later on, and then it's just there. It's part of my savings now. Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah.
How much is it?
Can ask later.
Sorry, just pass back to me. So if you are doing research during your undergrad, what you are looking for is knowledge, the experience. So you can write in your CV in the future. I used to be in R&D department in Mechanical Engineering University, Malaya. How proud is it, right? So just don't think about the money. Money's gonna go in the future, not right now. Okay, any more questions? If no more, then I'll be asking. Okay, so that's a countdown. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go.
Alright, since you talked about your research funding about less transparent, can I ask about if you allocate less money on the actual research, does that mean you get more as a salary?
Okay, I didn't say that the research funding is not transparent. I mean, the research funding is lower, if I'm saying it correctly. Okay, this is actually much out of my scope because when I signed up as a research assistant, the name says it, I am an assistant. There are a lot of things which I did not have the independent say to, and there are a lot of things which I may not know as well. For those who are watching, please do correct me. Yeah, there's a camera over there. I don't know how much we can allocate for ourselves and for the research because I was not an independent researcher. So I have to make that very clear. In master and PhD level, some of them will be, in the job scope, they will mention at the very first, able to work independently, which means that everything you can decide on your own, I mean, at least on paper. And I'm not sure what happens, in reality, because let's be fair, I still have 2 more years for my undergraduate degree. I have no idea what's going to happen then. So, let alone about postgraduate. So, I guess that's within my knowledge base. That's the only answer I can give for that. Yeah, I'm so sorry right now. Thank you.
Actually, I can make some add-ons or update on it. For sure, you are an undergraduate students. And then the knowledge in your mind was like just maybe 20% or 10% of the postdocs or postgrad students. Like for them, for the researchers, you're just a newbie. For sure, you get less. And just 2 days ago, I talked to one postdocs in University Malaya Physics department. We got around 7,000 for just a 1-year contract, like monthly 7,000 paid. So in a way of saying, it's actually quite high just doing research. Yeah, so that's how it's being. Any more question? Okay, let's go. Xiaopeng.
So since the last two questions was already there, so I'll ask something more normal. So can you tell us about one most enjoyable thing about IA and one most tedious thing about IA?
Okay, very interesting question. Okay, so everyone has the stereotype that research is very boring, right? Which I can admit, yes, it can be very boring. But like I mentioned earlier, and I think our speakers can relate, I think our interest and passion in that field have long outweighed the boredom that would come, right? I mean, 3 days courses crammed in, anyone would feel bored, right? But because of how the innate passion that we had, we just naturally grew to like it, and actually for me at least, I actually enjoyed that process. The boring process actually turned very interesting for me. Like when you sit in front of the microscope, right, you look at the screen, you actually hope to see something good. It's not like in your lab reports, like lab experiments, you just go in, do the experiment, come out, hope for good results, and try to finish the report and submit on 11:58. It's not like that. Like when you are a research assistant, you actually, for me at least, because I'm passionate, I actually feel attached to what I'm doing. I feel attached to the project, and because of that, I feel the enjoyable part is just me knowing that I'm involving myself in something that I love. So that's the most enjoyable part. Of course, there comes to the tedious part. I think for research, at least at this stage, the most difficult part is the literature review, the reading, because I don't think I was very much trained to do that in a very systematic manner. So I did it a lot on my own, where I just read, tried to organize them as much as I can, and hope for the best. So thankfully, this was a small project, so I didn't get too overwhelmed. But reading is actually very tedious, and as I mentioned earlier, research can be quite boring, and unless you're really passionate about it. But I believe the passion can outweigh the boredom. That's what I want.
To add that, when I was living in Germany, my housemate was a researcher. So he made a living out of research and made really good money. So my question is, would you consider doing research abroad? If, let's say, in Germany, there's a lot of research on automotives because that's the homeland of cars, right? And then there's a lot of research on energy also. So my housemate was doing research on, I don't know, it was like computers. So basically, you also need to consider your location of research to do your research. Like for example, in UM, tak ada yang research yang you nak buat tu. Maybe kat tempat lain ada kan, macam tu. So, consider going abroad and doing your research?
Alright, so my current plans are, if possible, to get my PhD in first, and if possible, maybe try for a postdoc abroad. So I have intentions for going abroad, but maybe not so soon. And my reasoning for that is that I have already started here, and I believe that, at least for now, what I'm doing, the resources are still available for me. Maybe not up to like some overseas standards, I can admit. Definitely some equipment here would not be like what some projects may not be able to be, I would say, it cannot meet the demands of some projects lah. But who am I to say that now, because I am just just starting. But the reason being that I want to go abroad only after like getting my PhD would of course to gain experience lah. I actually wish to gain experience locally first, where I can actually like really, I believe like hone my skills first before I actually go, a step further abroad. But of course, it's a long journey. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and I might change my answer to that anytime. Yeah, so that's my answer as of today.
So one last question will be given to the audience. Any more?
I'll start here. Because you keep mentioning about postdoc. What is postdoc?
Okay, please correct me if I give wrong information. Thank you. I'm talking to the camera, not talking. I'm talking to the camera. Postdoctoral research fellow is actually like the name for a role that PhD graduates get. So after graduating from with a PhD, you can actually choose to go to many places. A lot of people take PhD sometimes just to get a doctoral degree to really go into the subject that they love, and they can choose to be a lecturer. Of course, I want to be a lecturer, but sometimes I'm not sure due to university policies or due to the vacancies available. Sometimes you can't be a lecturer immediately, so you will be a postdoctoral research fellow where you are attached under a university and you carry out research under that university. So you use the facilities there. Funding, I really don't know how that works, but yeah, being a postdoc basically just means that you are a full-time researcher and you work under a particular university that you are attached with. And yes, you are paid for a postdoc researcher.
Okay, so hopefully all these questions are answered clearly. So now it's my turn, since everyone has been asking so many questions. I have two questions actually. It's not that long since we have just around 20 minutes left. So the first question for three of you is that what has been the most memorable moment from what you have pursued or you have been pursuing?
Okay, I think I'll start first. So the most memorable moment of what I've pursued during this Turkish aerospace apprenticeship program is at the UniKL IMechE hangar, which I managed to witness how they service a helicopter, where they would strip the whole helicopter and you just see the skeleton of the helicopter, which is how to say, really small compared if they install those avionic systems and other systems that makes a helicopter, and they would like analyze really every single part of the helicopter, every bolt, and they would test to see if they have any like fatigue, stress, or damages to the components that are life-threatening for the pilots and passengers. So the time when they strip the whole helicopter, they will place every single component on the ground, like on the mat over there, and it takes like a few weeks for them to strip the whole helicopter for every bolt and every component. Then when they want to install it back, it takes months for them to install it back. So it's actually one of the memorable moments that I got during this apprenticeship program.
So on my side, as an extrovert, my most memorable moments is seeing people, because I am socially attracted to talking to people, like, oh, what do you do, what is this, what are you doing, why are you doing this and everything. So when I was at Germany, I basically talked to everyone. So, oh, okay, what's the background and everything. So most of my colleagues, interestingly, were all PhD students, PhD graduates. So in order for you to take PhD at Germany, you need to take your PhD in English. So most of my colleagues really speak English, but they just want to force me to speak German. That's a normal German behavior. So I really enjoy talking to them. So I think that's my most memorable moments, like seeing people and talking to them.
I'm feeling lucky that you know, like, all of them know how to speak in English. I also don't know how would you survive over there.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mazir.
Actually, my most memorable moment was the conference, I think. But since I've already talked about it, maybe I'll talk about my second most memorable moment, which is actually finishing the report. Because, for your information, it was actually submitted at 11:58:59 as well. Like, it's that kind of submission, because I just didn't have like the capabilities to juggle that report, which was completely not regarding my studies at all at the moment, and also my studies. So when I actually finished the conclusion, I was so happy, to a point that I submitted the wrong file to the conference. So I actually submitted a hanging sentence. The sentence was like, I typed like 3 words and then nothing really. So I submitted that file actually, but in the end I corrected it during the next day. And then since all the university lecturers were like part of the committee, hopefully they could help amend it as soon as possible, right? So that was very memorable. And turns out, right, when we printed the conference proceedings at the conference, they actually printed the hanging sentence, and this was distributed to all of the researchers there. And hopefully they don't read it, okay? Hopefully they just read the abstract, but yeah, just so you know, there is a hanging conference paper somewhere out there. And it's also put in IMechE now, like Dr. Go's thing, like you can see our citation there, and then if you actually find the paper somehow or other, you will find the hanging sentence. Yeah, that's the second most memorable thing lah. Yeah, something interesting I would say.
Thank you, Ben. I have one more question for you. Since I know that your colleagues are Christine and Timothy, right? Are both of you here right now? Just Christine, what about Timothy? No, okay. Rate out of 10 about your colleagues.
Context?
Like, how they are working with you, how good they are. Yeah, rate out of 10. Like, yeah.
I have nothing much to say because I don't know what to say. But I guess based on your interest in the subject, I can see that both of them have worked to the best of their ability to help make the project happen. During the report, I have to admit that I did most of it because, number one, Christine was in Germany, and number two, Timothy was actually involved in quite a number of other commitments. So due to that, and also due to my interest in that report, I was like, okay, maybe I'll just do it, okay? But Timothy did help out as well during the reporting. Christine also did, just that because of those like situations, they couldn't help out that much. That's why the submission was like 11:58. But nevertheless, without them, it wouldn't be able to happen because the experimental stages were very important to have like all of us present and everyone work together to like actually, 3 months for getting something like getting results out is actually to me I think quite rushed. And yeah, we're very happy that everyone gave their best to make it happen. Yeah.
So according to what I understand, for sure they are quite a nice colleague, are they? Yeah, okay, sure, thank you. Okay, so one last question from me already. Sorry, give me a second. Oh, no, sorry, that's just one last question.
Same thing in class also. He says.
Okay, one very last one. So for three of you, how do you view the significance of having a direction or goal during your undergraduate studies? Summarize it in one sentence. Starting with Pei Wei, thank you.
Okay, I see the importance of having a goal and direction as very crucial, because like it's very important to have a goal, as we all already know that it can be like a drive for us to continue working harder, but it is also important for us to reassess and reevaluate our goals from time to time, which I think like because when we discover new interests and opportunities, we might change our mind, like for example, like if we are interested in one thing now, probably in the future we will be interested in another industry. So I think it's important to reevaluate your goals and motivation.
Thank you, Pei Wei. What about Nazia?
So mine is a bit different. Having a goal and direction does not have to be same with anyone else, and that's okay to have a different goal and direction by anyone else, because most of the time people want to follow what people are doing, like follow the flow, those kind of things. So people want to follow others people's goals, other people's directions, but what you need to realize is that you need to have your own goals and your own direction, and it doesn't have to be same with anyone else. You can be someone unique, and that is great also. You're doing a favor for the world of being unique. Right.
Thank you. Nazia, what about that?
So I'm about to prove that both of what they're saying is true, because those two advices work for me. So first, Pei Wei, you said you had to reevaluate your goals, right? So back then I wanted to be a psychologist. It may have worked out, I don't know. But during that, I had my reasons for entering, wanting to do psychology. A part of me still wants to. And then in Form 4 and Form 5, I discovered my interests lie here in STEM and in particularly in materials. And look what that has led me to, right? So reevaluating is actually, it can be beneficial. It may have been another story there, it may have worked out as well, but if this one works out, I think there is nothing to really regret too much about that. Okay, that's on reevaluating. And also just now you mentioned you don't have to follow the crowd when it comes to goals, right? I don't think I followed the crowd, because no one's doing this. Like research is very niche, and I actually was worried that I would get rejected, because there were so little people doing research. I was worried that lecturers would not actually want to provide me with an opportunity, or I mean not to say that way, but I was worried that there are no opportunities at all for that to happen. But I was very grateful that because I stayed with what I love and what I believe could work out, it did happen, and I would say that it happened very in a way that I really enjoyed. Like it went beyond my expectations, I would say. So yeah, just to prove that what the two of them said really go hand in hand. And yeah, the significance, right, just now you mentioned the significance of having a goal, I would say, or just a direction, is just to guide you, right? It's not the end of the world if you don't have a direction now. It's not, you don't need to have it right now as well. You can think about it and let it guide you to where your interests lie. It may change, like ways, right? It will change, but it will always be there to guide you, and you can trust it. Sometimes masuk longkang ways, but hopefully not for our directions lah. Okay, so I guess that's I just have to wrap up like that. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for 3 of our speakers. I think someone would have questions to be asked. Anyone else? So one last question already.
You can always say time already. Last question.
Okay, this is the one last from the participants. Any more? If no, then we will end this session. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, end. Okay, so due to time constraint as well, we just left around 10 minutes, so we'll have to end our forum session right here. Thank you all for the participants and also our speakers as well for the fruitful discussion. Next, I'd like to invite our representative, Debbie, to hand over a small token. Oh, Diva! I feel lucky that the lecturers aren't here. Okay, sorry, I remember the wrong name. Diva, okay. Okay, Diva to hand over the token for appreciation. Once again, sorry, Diva.
It was more awkward when I was requesting for the tokens and they asked to see the speaker profiles. That was the most awkward thing I had